this is such a simple shift, but it's extremely powerful to just literally accept whatever the night brings, whether it's great sleep or not. Shifting into acceptance, not trying to do more things so that you sleep, is extremely simple and extremely powerful.
Hi, I'm Maria, otherwise known as the Fit Foodie. I'm a chef, holistic nutritionist, author, inventor, and mom. And I want to welcome you to my podcast. It's called Recipes for Your Best Life. And with every episode, I'm peeling back the onion on fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, and family. The truth is, you're the chef of your life. And for every important pillar, there's a great recipe worth sharing. So every week, we'll explore them together. Think of it as food for thought that you can really sink your teeth into. So join me, and let's squeeze the joy out of this life, because you only get one. Can I get a fork, yeah? I don't think there's anything worse than waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep. I mean, how frustrating is it to just toss and turn and then finally forget it? You're done. The next morning, you're worthless. You have no energy, no focus. You feel hungover and completely unproductive. Well, imagine feeling that way all the time. That's what Devin Burke, an international sleep expert, was hearing from people. And it led him to his practice and creating the Sleep Science Academy. He's one of the top health and sleep coaches in the world. And he's the best-selling author of the book, The Sleep Advantage. He's helped so many people with his books, his keynote speeches, his programs, and videos, inspiring them to improve their sleep and get their energy and life back. In today's episode, we're going to dive into why sleep is so important and what you can do to get better sleep night after night. If you've been counting sheep one too many times, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. Devin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Maria. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. And sleep is such a hot topic, it seems like, in the world of wellness. I'm really glad we're diving into this. But you have a very personal story of how you even embarked on this path. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, I'll give you the quick highlight version of that. Essentially, I've been helping people for over a decade with their health. And one of my clients I was working with had issues with his sleep. Up until that point, I'd studied a lot of mind-body technologies, nutrition, exercise physiology, psychology, all different types of mind-body technologies, but never sleep. And so I looked into what was available to help this particular client and realized that there were very few options. And after looking at what was available, sleeping medication or CBTI specifically, I said, hey, well, listen, I studied a lot of things. I don't know that much about sleep, but let me dive into the science of sleep and see if I might be able to help you. And after really diving deep into the science of sleep and understanding sleep at a deep psychological level, I was able to help this client sleep. And if I could help one person, then I can help thousands of people. So that's really what leads me up to today with the work that I'm doing.
Have you ever had problems with sleeping yourself?
I'm actually a professional sleeper. I am a pro, and that it's interesting because a lot of people that do this type of work, supporting clients or transformational work, as I like to call it, it's out of their own pain. Mine actually wasn't. Like I am blessed. I used to take, I should say, sleep for granted. I used to think it was a waste of time. I didn't really understand how powerful and important it is, and how big of a problem it is if you're not getting sleep. And so, my sleep isn't perfect. When I started to really look into, and there is no perfect sleep, by the way, but when I started to look into like the quality and depth of my sleep, which I have been for the last 4 years, I realized, there is some work I can do. I thought I was a fantastic sleeper. Like I had no problem getting and staying asleep, but I noticed that the quality of my sleep, based off of lifestyle habits and different things that I did or didn't do throughout the day, dictated that. And when I started to optimize that quality of sleep, specifically deep sleep, delta sleep, and REM sleep, deep sleep and delta sleep, same category there. I noticed, wow, I actually had more focus. I had more energy. I made better decisions. I was a nicer human being. I was more present. And so that, I really, for me, it was really around optimization of the 1/3 of our life that we spend in bed. But the way that I support people is on the other spectrum of that, which is people that really can't get or stay asleep and have a major problem with how it's affecting their life.
Yeah, so let's dive into that because I can only imagine that combination of stress and lifestyle and certainly all of our gadgets have a role and have played a factor in the ability to get sound sleep. But how do you, how do you kind of dive into analyzing that with a person? I mean, you are a certified sleep science coach. Like, this is a thing. This is something that you don't just do. I used to love the bumper sticker, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like, well, if you want
Yeah.
to accelerate the path to death, go ahead and don't sleep, right? I mean,
I love that.
how did we find out that as a society, this was a problem to where the science of it has become so well defined?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a hard one to answer because it's kind of like the chicken or the egg question. Are people anxious and depressed because they're not sleeping, or are they not sleeping because they're anxious and depressed?
Mm.
And, we have the World Health Organization said chronic stress is an epidemic. And, so sleep and stress go hand in hand because they're bi-directionally linked. So the more stress and anxiety you experience, the worse you sleep. Then the worse you sleep, the more stress and anxiety you experience. And so that, in combination with just the availability of data and the amazing leaps in technology, has allowed us to realize, wow, sleep isn't a waste of time. It's actually one of the most profound things that you could do to protect your health, to increase your longevity, to restore your mind and body. And, as these sleep trackers became more and more popular, that just confirmed more and more of that hypothesis and science in like the sleep labs. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we're living in the age of the quantified self, and that has its pros and its cons, specifically when we're talking about sleep, and we can get into that. But I think that's really where I see the answer to that question.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot that happens when we sleep, and each stage of sleep contributes to different aspects of health. Can you just give us a high level view of what that looks like? And is there a certain time that we should be going to sleep? I mean, if we get 7 to 8 hours, I know that's a good thing, but isn't there a window of time where we should also be falling asleep?
Yeah, so those are two separate questions. So
Yeah, they really are.
yeah, I'll address the first question, and then I'd be more than happy to get into the second. And they're definitely intertwined and linked. So in a high level, you can think of there's a couple different stages of sleep. So there's REM sleep and non-REM sleep. Those are two buckets. Within non-REM sleep, you have light sleep, and you can think of just light sleep and deep sleep, just to really keep it simple and basic for people to understand. So every 90 minutes, we go through what's called a sleep cycle where we're coming from light sleep to deep sleep to REM sleep. When we talk about quality of sleep, we're really talking about deep sleep, and we're talking about REM sleep. Okay, so again, every 90 minutes, we're going in and out of these different stages of sleep. And if we're asleep, between 7 and 8 hours, that's anywhere between 4 and 5 cycles. So as far as the timing of sleep, they found that, the first quarter of the night. So if you look at the night like a football game, the first quarter of the night, that's where you get most of your deep sleep. So from the hours of 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., that is when you're getting most of your delta deep sleep. And that's an important stage of sleep because that's when our bodies release growth hormone. That's when our bodies repair and recover. That's when our T cells are floating around and killing cancer cells. That's when, you can think of that as like if you took your car into the garage and a master mechanic came and started replacing parts and cleaning off the rust, That's what happens during that stage of sleep. So for whatever reason, the first quarter of the night, and there's, because of a lot of different, the circadian clock and sleep pressure and all these other things that I don't think makes sense to get into on this conversation. The first quarter of the night is really important to protect and to optimize. The last quarter of the night, so we're talking the fourth quarter, right before you cross the line to wake up, that's the touchdown line. That's where we're getting most of our REM sleep. And REM sleep, you can think of as emotional first aid. That's where short-term memories get shown to long-term storage. It's when we're working out emotional traumas throughout the day. That's when we're dreaming. That's when we're coming up with new creative ideas. That's really important for emotional health and stability. Again, in between the first quarter and the fourth quarter, you're also coming in and out of light sleep and REM sleep and deep sleep as well. It's not as pronounced throughout the entire sleep architecture of those 4 quarters.
Is that why the other night when I had the weirdest dream, and I'm a really good sleeper too, thank the Lord, because I don't know what I would do if I didn't have good sound sleep and I was an insomniac, but I had the weirdest dream that I was at my dad's place and I'm like, Dad, what time is it? And I had just woken up and he goes, it's 1:30. And I was like, wait, 1:30? Is this the same day that I went to sleep, or is it the next? There's no way I slept till 1:30 the next day. And I was like panicking that I had slept too much. That was my dream. And then I woke up.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, there are people, I'm not one of these people, that really can break down what dreams mean. At least they have a system and a hypothesis around, in dream interpretation. It's kind of an art, less of a science, but yeah, I mean, dreams are fascinating. I mean, there's so many inventions that have been created throughout the night. Paul McCartney.
I just thought it was funny that like the dream that I remembered, that I slept so soundly in my deep REM sleep. When I woke up, it was because I was sleeping too long. So that's just funny.
It is a bit ironic. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about this. And I did throw 2 questions at you at once, but is there an ideal time frame that we should be falling asleep? Have you ever wondered, is rinsing my produce with the water that comes out of the sink that I don't even drink enough to really clean it? Well, then you're one of the smartest people I know, because you're absolutely right. It's not enough. That's why we created the only all-natural and patented line of food wash and wipes, and it's called Eat Cleaner. It's tasteless, odorless, and lab tested, and it removes up to 99.9% of the residue that water can't, including pesticides, wax, soil, and junk that can carry bacteria that can really make you sick. Plus, we formulated it to help extend the shelf life of your fresh produce too, and that'll save you money. When your berries are lasting up to 10-12 days, you know that's a good thing. It helps your produce last up to 5 times longer using a natural blend of fruit acids and antioxidants. So there's no chemicals. It's just clean eating fun. And this can help save your family an average of over $500 per year. Make it easy on yourself, reduce waste, and get that fruit and veggies into your body, where it's gonna do you a lot of good and not in the trash. Check us out, eatcleaner.com, or head to our Amazon store at amazon.com/eatcleaner.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your chronobiology, so we each have a unique what's called chronotype, and traditionally this is like the morning person or the evening person, like the night owl or the morning lark. And so certain people, really their body clock is more synced to go to bed a little bit later than other people. And so depending on your chronotype, your unique chronobiology dictates, okay, when would be the most optimized time for you to be in bed, but you definitely want to be in bed within that sleep that really critical deep sleep window between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. is pretty late.
Hmm.
regardless of what chronotype you are.